we're joined here in Sonny's on High Street in Galway, famous High Street and famous bar at Sonny Molloy's. Joined here with the captain of Galwegians, Jarlath Naughton, the coach Matt Brown, and forwards coach John Muldoon, just to talk about Galwegians and what's happened in the last 12 months and the great season that we've had. Matt, if I could, I might start with you. Before we get on to the rugby, give us a bit about your background. This is your first year with Galwegians?
Yeah, first year with Galwegians. I was coaching junior rugby in Leinster. I was basically travelling around the world playing a bit myself. Got a bit old, got a coaching job in Ireland, settled down, and then was looking to progress the coaching. And then, luckily enough, Galwegians were looking for a coach, and they gave me a chance basically. So. Yeah, here I am.
You've had a great year of it so far anyway. Are you originally Irish? Where are you from originally?
No, northwest of England, and a town called Lee, which is near Wigan, rugby league country, but sure there's plenty of rugby union up there as well. So
good. And settled in since you came down to Galway?
Yeah, no, loving Galway. Hey, good people, good place. Just have to get over my dodgy accent and the ground. So.
You came in on the back of a season where Corey Brown, who's gone on to moved on to bigger and better things, if that's possible, being a better coach than in Galwegians at a club like that. But you've gone on to he's gone on to bigger and better things, and he had a good platform set up for you since when you arrived.
Yeah, I was very lucky in a way that the team had a lot of momentum from getting promoted the year before, and a lot of the basic stuff and that Corey and John had put in was standing to us the second year. So it was easy for me to kind of jump in on something that was already going in the right direction, and the lads had done a great job, and we had the same core of players who were well familiar with all the plays, the calls, and also with Mull staying on.
Easy enough transition into it then, yeah.
It felt that way, yeah. I was happy enough.
Mull was there. Mull, you're obviously busy man, Connacht captain. Everything going well with Connacht. Hopefully might go a little bit better, we'll know in the next few weeks. Then your sideline away from Connacht is you're the forwards coach with Galwegians. Have been for 2 years now?
Yeah, this is my second year. I coached out in Monavea for a couple of years, helped out there, and it was I suppose a steep learning curve, but very good. You probably won't meet as many characters in a team as you would out there. There's some funny men out there, and they certainly keep you on your toes. But yeah, look, it was, I suppose, it's been a long time since I played with Galwegians, but that is my club. It was my first ever senior club, and I owe them a lot in terms of playing for Connacht, and I suppose knowing knowing a lot of the lads, and my two brothers played for Galwegians one of them for nearly 10 years, and gone up watching them over the last couple of years, leaving with a sense of disappointment and wondering, can I do anything?
Could
it make a difference to it? And I suppose when Corey came in and Matt came in this year, it was a case of, we know we can get something out of them, we can get maybe a little bit extra out of them, and thankfully 2 promotions in 2 years looks well, but
yeah.
I don't know if you can say it's all the coaches, because the talent was certainly there in the squad before we ever got them.
Can you remember, as a young fella, can you remember coming up to Galwegians? Do you remember arriving up there?
Yeah, I do. There
was a good core. There was you and your brother Ivan, and
Ray
John
Hogan,
Burke,
John
and Ray
Burke,
Hogan,
yeah,
and Bino.
And Bino, yeah. So we all joined at the same time. It's a funny enough story. I was involved with the Irish under-19s. I was in college in Galway. I was playing for Nina Ormond Rugby Club, which would be about 25 miles away from my home place in Portumna, and it was a strange story how we started with them, but we were training with them, and we were playing with the college GMIT, and obviously I was playing Irish under-19s. I needed to get some training into me for them, and I rocked up to the college training late. 4 people had showed up for training. They were gone to the pub, and John Folan was about to take Galwegians under-20s training, and John Burke was beside me going, "Come on, we'll train with these," and I was just like kicking him, going, "We bet these 50-0 the other day, like, come on, do your shit, let's get out of here." But lo and behold, we trained that night, and John Kingston, the former coach, happened to be down watching training, and requested that John Burke and myself and one other player would come up to the seniors on the Thursday night, and Folio said, "Look, there's no problem with the other player was Johnny McDonough. There's no problem with Johnny McDonough coming training, but I've no idea who these two other lads and a typical arrogant Englishman said, I don't care who they are. This is Galwegians' first team, so that's how it started. And good. Within 2 months, I got a contract with Connacht, and things changed very quickly.
Great.
So it's a nice story, but yeah, so humble beginnings, and thankfully he was able to help out in the last 2 years and get the club backed up to where we belong in Division 1A.
And Ja, going from one captain to former captain to the present captain, brilliant year for you. Can your background with Galwegians?
15 years now with the club. Came over under 14s. Played right up through the system under you at 20s, and this is possibly my 6th or 7th year playing senior rugby at Galwegians.
Good honour this year to be.
Great honour. Taking over from one of the most successful captains in Beano. Just delighted when Corey actually rang me, asked me to be captain before he stepped down and moved on. Just delighted from being a local man playing Regions of 14 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't say no more, just being delighted.
Matt, when you're picking a captain, Ja, as I know on a pitch, does most of his talking through the way he plays. He's not a chirpy one. He does a lot with his actions.
Well, that depends if you count giving out to the referee.
In between giving out to the referee and getting But I mean, is he an ideal type choice? Would he have been your first choice? Considering you can say it now, but considering that Corey made the choice, would you consider him to have been your first choice of captain?
Well, before I knew him, the fact that he was in place and he'd had such success, there was no need for me to even try and interfere. Then after meeting the lads, there is some natural leaders in that group, some good talkers, and I think that enables Ja to play his own game. And lads, it's very easy for lads to roll in behind someone who's kind of going to demonstrate with their actions as opposed to actually talking them through it. So with the personnel he's got around him, they can do that, and sure, he can manage the rest of it himself. So.
What for the season has been. I found over the last couple of years, Galwegians, even though we've been successful, they can be very frustrating to watch, because one week they can go out and they can play a team and you say we should beat these guys comfortably, and you just watch them. They just seem to do anything at any time, anywhere. It seems to be sometimes the wrong thing, and then other times they can just be clinical. Are they a good bunch to work with, good bunch to coach, or is that your philosophy? Tell them do whatever you want.
Well, I wouldn't say do whatever they want. Like, I had no grey hairs before I came to Galwegians, but
and I had hair.
But no, I mean, they are a good group, and they demand a lot from themselves, each other, and from the coaches. I remember, in the first few weeks, I was being challenged, and it was probably the best thing that could have happened. They do want to get better, which is huge, and a team with a work ethic like that. I mean, once you get everyone singing from the same hymn sheet, then you're golden. Really.
Makes it easier too, though, when we're winning. It does make when you're winning games.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we had a few hiccups, and there were some games where Buccaneers away springs to mind, where we really sneaked that one at the end, which was kind of incredible.
And I wanted to get to that. Kind of turning points in the season. I think one game I watched was the Belfast Harlequins game, which we threw at home. I think we made a right Hames out of that, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the game?
No, Shannon.
Sorry, Shannon at home. Yeah,
I think there's a couple of things, Sloppy's. We obviously, the year before, so 3 years ago, there was a couple of occasions where we lost a couple of games, probably where we shouldn't have lost. Turner away, the first game of the year, and I think you lost another one after that, which meant out of the first 3 games you'd lost 2. And then once you do that and you're fighting for promotion, it's very hard to peg those games back when you're on the back foot. And last year we were in a lower league, and it's a case of we kept just building momentum, and there was, as you said, there was frustrating games where we know we were better than the teams, but we ultimately gave away a couple of scores, and games were tighter than they could be. That can be frustrating at times, but sometimes it brought us back down to earth, and it's a case of building momentum all the time, where you keep winning, keep
chipping away at it
exactly, and you keep building that scores, and you keep getting the wins on board, and then sometimes it happens that those games come back to kind of
that's your agent on the phone.
But sometimes you get those wins and you don't perform as well, but you learn how to win, and you grind them out, and that's what happened last year. This year, a little bit different, because you're stepping up a league and you're worrying because the teams are a little bit better this season, and you're worried if you give those opportunities, will that cause problems?
You get up to kind of Christmas and we're going well, we're close to the top of the table. I can't remember if we were leading it at Christmas, but at what stage, Matt, did you think we could win this? We could get out of the school, we could win this, we could get promoted, because we started talking about it.
To be honest, this might sound like a bit of a cliche, but I promise you I did not look past the next game, because it was a little bit surreal that we kept winning, and we kept winning with a bonus, and you know, I was actually scared to put the markers on it really, so we just kept going and kept going. Coming up to Christmas, obviously we had a couple of blips there, and it was funny because there was a few people in the club actually warned me that it's a Galwegians trait. Oh, don't worry, up to Christmas we're always bad. I'm like, surely you can't accept that. Like, you need to keep the momentum going. So yeah, I mean, I didn't look too far. It was only probably after Christmas when we actually got back on track, where maybe then I started thinking, well, look, if we can stay at the top, and some of the performances we put in were, we proved we could play with the so-called top sides in the division. It was purely being able to deliver it.
Had you set a goal at the start of the year as to where you were going to finish up? I mean, you always set goals. Everyone does. Where do you want to be? Safety. I'd say that was it, wasn't it?
That was the key line in my interview. Just stay up.
Just stay up. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
I suppose when you jump a division, and we lost a couple of key players. We lost Conor Muldoon, Dave Nolan went to France. Dan McCabe went back to his hometown in Clonturk because his whole team had just got promoted from junior. Eddie Earl moved to Cork.
Rooney had gone.
Owen Rooney had left. So we lost our whole starting back row. We lost the second row and front row. He was probably bigger and fatter than some of their props, so I can say that because he's my brother. But so we lost 5 key guys in our team the year before, and then we lost 1 or 2 other fellas, and then you've a couple of academy players who you don't know and would say, are they going to progress in Connacht? And someone like Kieran Gaffney's playing with the Irish 20s. You've Caleb Blade who starts making his transition into the Connacht senior team. So all these players that were really key to us the year before, you've lost 4 or 5 of them through immigration, through work, through whatever, and then you have a couple of them stepping up to Connacht. You're getting a little worried going, how are we going to survive in a better league? But ultimately I think that was down to the winning mentality we had the year before. And as Matt said, we started winning games and it just kept snowballing and snowballing.
And a lot of those guys that are on that squad are young kids who have been would have played back with you under 18s, under 20s, they're actually used to winning. They don't have the, maybe us older boys can remember the bad days of relegation battles. But these boys are used to winning every week in, week out. Probably more disappointed when they lose.
Underage, I'd say, or winning trophies all the way through, and then the transition over to seniors wasn't as good. But in the last 2 years, you said the snowball effect of winning and winning and winning. And we go back to what our goals at the start of the season, obviously to stay up, but our mentality changed after the year we went down. We didn't go on here because I think we were looking too far ahead. We were looking like, we need to go back up. Yeah. I think our mentality changed, and John came in with Corey was, look, we've got to take it game by game by game.
Get safety first, and see what happens after that.
Take it from there.
Tell us about, I know you were the forwards coach and you were running the show up there. Dan McFarlane was a big help to you as well.
Yeah, Dan's obviously been looking after the scrum for a long time. And first of all,
because the scrum was a huge feature, and the lineup was a huge feature.
First of all, he's going to be a massive loss for both Galwegians and Connacht. Obviously, he's trying to further himself, and he wants to, I suppose, get a bit more recognition. And from what he's done from both the Galwegians forward pack and the Connacht forward pack, I've no doubt he's going to make Glasgow an even better team. And to say that they're the top team in Pro 12 already, with Dan joining next year, get your money down for league winners next year early. But look, one thing that's probably been the strong point of Galwegians over the last couple of years has been their scrum. Jamie Stevens used to boast that he was the top try scorer in the club because of penalty tries. I don't know how many of us used to listen to him, but he used to boast that, and a lot of that was down to Dan. And I suppose from Matt's point of view, Matt came in and wouldn't have known much about Dan, and Dan was looking after us, but we had a bit of I suppose, a rough period around Christmas this year. The only game we lost was to Ballymena, who had been our foes for probably 2 years. We lost in the last minute at home in I suppose you could only call it a dirty day and a dogged match. And we were very unlucky to lose in the last play of the game, but we ended up losing that game, and that was the only game we'd lost coming up to Christmas. We played Shannon, who were having a rough enough time, but we had played 1 or 2 games before that. We probably hadn't played to our best. Things didn't really go that well for us in the Shannon game. We lost by a small margin, and we went up to Trinity, and Trinity were after going really
Trinity
well.
were on a bit of a roll at that stage.
Yeah, they were on a bit of a roll, and they started to really move the ball, and they probably caught us cold just after Christmas. The lads probably had too much turkey and stuffing inside them, and we didn't train them hard enough, but they caught us cold, and it was a bit of a wheel's falling off, and myself and Matt were scratching our heads, and we asked Dan to come in and have a chat with him. And Dan had a little word around the circle in Galwegians, and it ultimately turned out to be probably a good thing for us, listening to somebody new and someone I suppose that the forwards were used to, the backs weren't, and it definitely helped us, but he'll be a massive loss to us. He's been helping off the scrum for a while, and Jazz said he's fine, he'll take over Dan's job, no problem.
I'd say he probably good. In fairness to Jay, everything he does it well. You were lucky too at the start of the year because big Marty Cummins came back.
Yeah,
right back up in the gates, and he's a fine athlete.
He was a revelation.
Yeah.
We were myself and John were talking pre-season about who's coming in, and he was mentioned. And I know he played underage at Galwegians, but he'd been playing Junior 2 or Junior 3 rugby. Yeah. And he's
he had conditioned well when he arrived up as well.
He's a military man, so
he didn't look too much like a soldier.
I think he was put back through his paces by Dick O'Hanlon. I think.
Even though it was July, I think he was carrying a few festive.
He was at
that stage of the year.
Yeah.
But no, he was very strong. Like and I think he learned a lot working with John, and then he just blossomed, and his athleticism came through, and he took on a real leadership role towards the end, and he's a real character as well. So
towards the end of the season, when we're all genuinely, all the fans, all the supporters are talking about, genuinely, hey, we can get promoted here. Were you ever going? Were you letting it sink in, or were you kind of holding back a small bit? Calm down, lads, stay calm. This mightn't happen, and it's been a great year. You always hear that one. It's been a great year, no matter what happens, or we're not able for. If we go up, it won't be a good thing. I mean, were you hungry at that stage? Did you say, we want to get out of here and get up?
We couldn't really look too far ahead because we had three games up north. We had 2 derbies against Corinthians and Bucks, and then the last game, Garryowen, the team that's challenged us at the top, so we literally could not think of.
I can't believe you just had to ask who you played the last game to get promoted. That might be the afterwards celebrations now taking their effect on the brain cells.
Still celebrating.
And it's funny, like you beat Garryowen and you beat them, it was a good game, you beat them, you were the better team, no question. And then you see Garryowen getting out of it, having a hard job and going up to Mary's and beating Mary's at the weekend. It kind of goes to show how good a side you are, I think.
I think it does. I don't think we will have anything to be afraid of when we go up there.
Yeah.
The snowball effect of winning. We're just going to go up there and try and do that again, take it game by game. As you said, beating Garryowen and they've taken on Mary's. And that league up there was so tight as well, between 4th and last, I think.
So you win the Garryowen game and cue celebrations. Probably shouldn't be asking the coaches. It's always like it's a great time of the year. A good crack afterwards.
Yeah, it was a good crack. I think I spent an hour to myself in silence. I couldn't believe what had happened.
Yeah,
I was watching the fellas steam onto the pitch, and I was stood there with my hands on my head, thinking, "How did I get here?" It's a real whirlwind. But every pint they drank, they probably earned over the years. So
they're a good disciplined bunch anyway. You don't have problems keeping these guys in check. They want to actually go win games. They want to play well.
Yeah, I think if you watch the guys at training, of course, every now and again, might need a kick, and it's often delivered. But they have an unbelievable work ethic. They really do, and there's no shortage of rugby talent with it.
Yeah.
So for me, and obviously with the platform that Corey and John have set, I've said this a few times to John, that a lot of it is just a bit of self-belief and mental attitude that you can do the job.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's some of the games where we didn't perform, or maybe we only played half a game, where I just thought it was belief. And in Garryowen, When we played Gary Owen in the last game, I don't think there's any shortage of belief, and the lads knew what they were capable of. The fact that we probably turned them over already in the year, I think we were probably, don't want to say this.
You would have fancied your chance. I mean, gotta be honest with you, like you're facing a big club like Gary Owen in from the point of the All Ireland League. Well, these guys are they're granddads, you know, they're a formidable side, and you think that the experience, and I kind of worried as, you know what, now these boys have been there before many times, won All Ireland titles, you know, and up to 5 years ago they won an All Ireland League. There was some achievement to beat them. There was some achievement. I think
there's a couple of things. Like, first and foremost, we've got to say that this is a social team in terms of all the lads have day jobs, they all work and whatever, and it's a case of, Matt was saying there, everyone enjoys each other's company. So we're going to come into Sonny's, we're going to come in and have a few beers and we're going to enjoy ourselves. But when we train, we try and train as professionally as we can, and it comes hand in hand. The lads have a very good relationship on and off the pitch, and there's no shortage of someone getting stuck into each other. We have a couple of lads, myself included, who will easily get stuck into somebody on the pitch. But then when they walk off, it's all forgotten and it's all enjoyed, and they enjoy their few drinks. And ultimately, that helps when we go on the pitch, because they train hard and then they come in here and they have a few beers and they enjoy it. But when it comes down to tight games like Gary Owen, you know that they're going to dig deep for each other. And in fairness to them, as the year went on and probably more and more pressure got on them, and we talk about defining moments, we had 3 games up the north, and in the past, Northern games have been absolute graveyards for Galwegians, and to come out with 3 wins in a row and 2 bonus point wins.
And up to Ballymena, and winning Ballymena. That was huge. We've never done that. When we're playing Ballymena, we have a good history with them. We've never beaten them up there. Came close a couple of times, but never did it.
They were huge. Like last year, our first ever game, Corey himself took over. We lost to Ballymena 40 odd points to 8. And I was thinking, God, this is going to be a long year. Yeah. It's the only game we lost last year. We went up again. They came down beaters, and then to go up there when I suppose the season is in the balance, and to win with a bonus point and come out was some achievement. And then I suppose when you get to the Gary Owen game, last game of the year, it was a little bit frustrating that we'd been knocked off top spot the week before, and sometimes that happens. But it was a huge win in Gary Owen, and as you say, the history, everything that went about it. But at the end of the day, it's probably down to the fact that we have such a good group of players, and there's such a good group of lads that grew up together as well, and that's the key. There's lads been there playing for Galwegians for 14 years, for 10 years. Martin Cummins coming back, and then you get these little sprinkling of
new boys coming in, and they gel in nicely,
like we were very fortunate. We said earlier, like Marty and Josh Payne were 2 lads. Josh walked in the door this year, and he was phenomenal for a small young fella who enjoys a bit of horse riding. And you're kind of thinking, geez, is this young fella going to be able to survive? Is he going to be able to survive Division 2A or Division 1B? Sorry, and he certainly came out with a lot of credit at the end of the year. And they're 2 lads who particularly added to us this year, who obviously were new to the club and really bought into the place. But again, I think it's a thing where you can't get away from the fact that it's a real social team, and that they enjoy themselves so much. But at the end of the day, when they come up training, they are professional about what they do.
It's a funny place, Galwegians. I think in that obviously I'm a lifelong member and involved in all my life, but it's a funny place because the old clubhouse has fallen down, and the place was valued in millions in a good time and all that, and it's a.
Did you value it that time? That's probably why it never sold.
It's the type of place I reckon teams just come and they walk in the gates and they go, oh man, I don't like this place. I just don't like it. No, no matter what happens, I would hope we never knock them, because I love it. I love the look of it. Every corner tells a story to it. But I reckon teams come into the place and they go, in a way, it can be kind of intimidating. It's kind of an old aristocrat of rugby. And I know some teams will hate, the whole Galwegian thing. People would say, we'll go in there and we give these boys a dick and play. But I reckon a lot of teams come here and they don't want to know about it, they don't want to play in the place. And that's a factor, I think. That's the factor.
Yeah, I think it is. Anyone who's coming to play there, unless they're unless it's Corinthians, they've had a fair old trek to get up there.
Yeah.
And then when we do the rain dance before the game and bring on the heavens open, like what am I doing here on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, there are some days up there, all right, and the sideways rain is coming in, and it's tough going. And like the club is in a good place at the moment because we're underage, and the key to it, and I want to talk about that. Now, for next year, we're in the top flight. We want to stay there, and you want to consolidate. Will be the goal this year. That's the idea, I'm assuming. But you got to start building. So, but you look at the success, the under 70s, all the way down, the underage was strong, under 20 starting to build up again. It's important for you guys, I presume, to really build up on that now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. It's huge for the club. And my Facebook feed's been going nuts with all the Galwegians posts of just teams winning trophies and trophies. So it's great for the long term prospects. You know, the 20s probably didn't go as well for us as we hope this year, but I think already people are working on that, and you know, you have a whole new crop of students coming to Galway, and hopefully the success will help strengthen that a bit further.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're in a good place, and it's, you know, Galwegians is now probably, well, I'm sure it always has been, but it's attractive.
We've got to keep building indigency. You've got to have them inside coming through the ranks. Of course, every now and then, as Mon said, you're going to get a sprinkling of a guys coming in from abroad or from Dublin or wherever it is. But I mean, you got to have the bases, the Jarlath Naughtons of this world that are right there, right away.
Well, our junior team picked up another trophy, won 2 trophies last year. So the way I look at it is, we're hoping for them to translate it up into the senior team, challenge for a spot on the senior team. And
you have, I mean, guys this year have come through from the seconds and the junior have come through.
As I said, 2 years ago when we lost 5 or 6 players from the team, the only 2 new players we got in were Marty and Josh into the starting team. So we had to, I suppose, promote from within. And as Jazz said, the lads won a junior cup last year, and we promoted a good few of those players to come up and to play and like that again. Look, gone are the days where you fly in 4 or 5 foreigners and you're expecting them to do it, or you're going opening a checkbook in Dublin or Limerick. Those days are gone. Some teams are able to do that. The fact is we're not able to do it, so we're going to expect a lot of the same players to come, and I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 players who want to promote themselves and challenge themselves to play top flight rugby, and that's what we're offering next year's top.
Matt, now that you're in division, we're in the top flight again. You're looking at the first. What the word I'm looking for is, I don't know. Your first notion would be right. We're going to get the Connacht players that are on the fringes and get them to come into the squad, because we've got to bolster the squad. You got to make it stronger. So that's the first thing. But my take on it is that the Connacht boys are in the zone. They're in the Connacht place, and I could be reading wrong this, but a lot of them don't perform too well when they have to come back down to Division 1 in the club, and they're, you know, maybe I'm wrong in this, but they kind of say, oh man, I'm playing club rugby, I wish I was playing for Connacht, I don't want to be here, and sometimes it's been more of a hindrance.
I've heard this before in the past, and obviously it's a new environment to me. I can say that the development and academy players that we've had, you know, have performed really well with us, and they probably spend more game time with us than they do with Connacht. I think we only had 1 full-time professional play with us this year, Andrew Brown, and it was a game that we lost, but he was very, very good, and you could not.
He was coming back from injury.
He was very good, and you know, I was kind of on to John every week. What's the chances of getting Brownie back? But no, it didn't. You know, it didn't happen. And I completely understand. This is guys' careers, and of course, Connacht has to be their priority. I guess it's just about, and it's probably to do with the coaches, that it's up to us to make sure that they're in the right mindset if and when they do come back down.
But do you? And I mean, I know. Forget about do as a squad. Do you want those guys? Do you need them in? I know you're going to say, well, they're good and they're pros and they're full-time athletes and stuff. But do you want them in? I mean, do we not try and say, look, let's go and get a guy who might be playing with Neen Ormond and get him to come up here? And you know, I don't know, what's the solution?
I mean, look, it'd be great to get somebody through the door, or somebody who's not contracted, and you know, you get them week in week out. But you know, at the end of the day, we want to win games, and if we're being offered some talent from Connacht, it would be foolish of us to turn it down. I think the big thing is, the important thing is, there's obviously no doubt in the talent of these guys, but it's about getting them in the right mindset.
The motivation is,
and you know, that comes down to us, and also I think the environment at Galwegians, it's hard not to buy into it, to be honest, with the enthusiasm of and we have got so many local players, like John says, that you know, you'd struggle not to get involved, really.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I think the key thing is ultimately a Connacht player wants to play for Connacht, and there's a sense of disappointment when the team is named and Pat doesn't name you on the team.
And then you get a phone call to go play, you know.
And you get a phone call and you're told, and I think that the key word that Matt used there is the environment. If you're coming down into a good environment and you're coming into a place that are doing well and who, I suppose, aren't opening their arms out going, our saviours are coming from Connacht.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. In the past,
it's been like that. But I think I suppose there's two things. One, if you're a Galwegian for most of your life and you're coming back to your club, there's probably that extra bit of incentive there. And like what Matt said, Brownie took it on board straight away. He was keen to play, wanted to play, and wanted to do well because he's a Galwegian. Unfortunately, sometimes when other people are coming down, then it's not the same. You're only a club, and it's a case of getting a bit of game time, and it's probably a little bit of a selfishness too.
Yeah. Understandably.
Of course, but I think the key is that if you've got a good environment, things are going really well, which they are for Galwegians at the moment. They're happy to come down and they want to, and all our Connacht players this season have been exceptional coming down. They wanted to play. And I suppose the difference is they're fighting for their position, and because of our squad has been so good at times, they've actually had to fight for their position and come down, and they know if they haven't come down, there might be a chance of playing. And when you're successful or doing well, they want to play.
Yeah, well, I know the likes of Jan now will be sneering down their nose at those guys that come down here with a half-arsed attitude to training, but everyone's been good. I mean,
no, as John said, everyone has been good. They fitted in well. Guys from the academy, most of them are Galway lads, Connacht Rugby, Lowndes, Lady. The boys in from outside.
You wouldn't be long putting them in their place. Any notions of grandeur.
Like we were talking about earlier, is if they buy into the team environment and it's a good place at the moment, they'll fit in, no problem.
Okay. Well, look, Jeb, I haven't touched on it too much. Tell us about you won it. The league, you got promoted the other night out. Did you come into Sonny's and into Sonny Molloy's and have a few beers? Good sponsors?
Really good, great sponsors. So what we did, we just had a couple of pints in the clubhouse, then came in here into town as a squad. Visited across the road into Buskers.
What do
you think we were doing over there? And then back into Sonny's again to finish off the night. It was a great weekend. Some went for 2 or 3 nights, but some was only went to 2. We're a bit old now for that.
Sensible ones of you are 26 years of age. The older ones now. You're one of the older statesmen of it.
I am now. 4 to 1.
So line drawn in the sand now. You start preparing for next year. When are you back pre-season?
We're already talking about it. If Matt gets his way, we're back in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but the players might want a bit more time off for that. But we're already putting things into plan already.
You got to be careful too, pre-season too, that it doesn't drag on too long, because it is a long season. It's a long enough season as it is, I think.
I think that the key is to give lads a bit of a break and to get them mentally fresh. I know from obviously my experience with Connacht, you need to get away from it, and as I said earlier, you're a social team, and that's what it's good about Galwegians. But at the same time, Matt spoke earlier about how traditionally we don't start the league well, and when you're jumping up 2 divisions now with players, we do need to hit the ground running. So it's a combination of giving lads a break, not even seeing me or Matt or being away from us, and then obviously starting to get back in and training and make sure that we hit the ground running in September, because as it looks at the moment, the season will be back in September, and it'll be broken up a bit with the World Cup, but still we need to hit the ground running while that's going.
Okay. Well, Jarlath Naughton, John Muldoon, Matt Brown, thanks a million for spending the time here in Sonny Molloy's and High Street, proud sponsors of Galwegians Rugby Club, and I hope next year that you go from strength to strength, and best of luck, Matt. Give it welly next year. Good job. Thanks.